In Africa's savage kingdom, from a 3-kilogram snake to a 70-kilogram lizard, venom has existed long before humankind ever discovered it. The dry season makes everything much more challenging. This lioness has just welcomed 2 little ones. She brought them into the world under harsh conditions. Lacking the experience to watch over them alone after a month, she decides to return to the pride. There, she can hunt and fill their bellies with mother's milk. Fortunately, the little ones blend in with the pride very quickly. As for their mother, a skilled hunter, she can focus on what she does best. The entire pride will move, as this parched land no longer offers enough prey for them. On these plains, everything is a brand new world. Every shadow is a mystery waiting to be explored. This is exactly why curiosity can be so costly with the most potent toxins. A Mozambique spitting cobra appears. It is less than 1 meter in length, the smallest of the African cobra family, but certainly not the least formidable. From a distance of 2.5 meters, the Mozambique spitting cobra has over 90% accuracy when aiming for the eyes. The cytotoxin will make contact with the corneal membrane, the eye's thinnest protective layer. Neurotoxin adds to the intense discomfort. Within the first few hours, an irreversible process has begun. They cannot undo what has occurred. This is a 24-hour countdown. That afternoon, the pride moves on. They must relocate, following the herds of antelope, heading toward the northern waters. The mother has realized something is not quite right. The little boy is growing weak. Even a mother's gentle touch cannot save the cub. The clock is ticking on his time. Food is becoming increasingly scarce. The entire pride must compete over small antelope. If this situation continues, tension will be unavoidable. They must keep moving forward. After a full day, the length of a long slumber, the corneal cells begin to fade from the outside in. The left eye loses its clarity, turning a cloudy gray. He still tries to keep pace. Instinct is stronger than the ache. But the grasslands have become invisible. Every bush is a hurdle. Every hole in the ground is a pitfall. On the morning of the third day, the pride makes its final move. The cub can no longer keep up. The distance between them grows. This wilderness has no room for affection when it becomes a burden the group cannot carry. The majority of young lions do not reach 2 years of age, and that reality makes it even more poignant. This is the way of the wild, not the law of the lions. The cub rests his head for the last time that afternoon. There are no more cries, only the sound of dry grass in the wind. The vultures already know what awaits them. The pride continues on its journey. This time, the mothers will be as cautious as possible around these legless reptiles. The little ones can stay close, but only when the snake is no longer a concern. On the savanna, there is more than one resident with potent toxins. For the mamba, it is a matter of speed and the nervous system. For the cobra, it is about distance and precision. The third one does not require speed. It does not require distance. It only needs perfect patience and an appearance that is completely indistinguishable from its surroundings. The puff adder. It lies perfectly still. Its body temperature matches the ground, leaving no thermal trace to set it apart from the earth. But this is more than just a clever disguise. The puff adder is the only snake in Africa that can suppress its own chemical scent. Mongooses and weasels specifically trained to sniff out snakes fail at a much higher rate when facing this one. This is a creature that even specially trained service dogs cannot track down. But a young leopard has managed to locate it. He is much more careful than the little lion cubs. This is not just a game. With a long and varied menu, this snake will make an ideal appetizer. That is, if the leopard comes out on top first. If a strike lands, things will become much more difficult. The puff adder is one of the swiftest striking snakes in the world. Cell-altering agents will begin to break down tissue from the point of contact outward, not affecting the nerves, but rather every layer of living tissue from the inside out, slowly and irreversibly. If a leg is affected, the leopard will have to part ways with that limb. It is possible he was just reached by the snake, but he still finishes his small hunt. Perhaps he got lucky. It was a dry strike. But luck does not always favor the great predators. Eventually, the time will come when their journey reaches its natural conclusion. Three weeks ago, this male lion still held a position, the highest rank in the power structure, but two younger males arrived and changed that. Now he wanders alone toward the northwest, 12 kilometers away from his former territory. Thin and hungry, solitary, guided only by instinct. This is the final chapter of his life, as he is clearly on his last legs. At 8 to 10 years old. The natural lifespan of a male lion in the wild. His sense of smell is no longer as sharp as it was during his reign. His mane is thinning out, a sign of his lowest testosterone levels. The lion, with senses worn down by years of struggle and movement, does not catch the subtle signals. If the black mamba takes action, it will surely prevail. The black mamba's fluid is primarily composed of neurotoxins. A single strike would cause nerve impulses to overload and lead to tremors, followed by muscle stillness. Intense muscle contractions and a slowing of breath follow. The chance of not making it through is nearly 100%. The lion starts and then moves away. There is no prey to pursue, no obvious rival to face. He continues on, a bit slower, but still moving. This is a creature that has weathered enough storms to know that fear settles nothing. He is unaware that this time, there is nothing left to settle. Dendrotoxins in the black mamba's system are blocking the channels at the nerve endings. Simultaneously, the fluid causes the heart's rhythm to lose its steady beat. Not violently, not suddenly, only a gradual silence of all things. The lion lies down, as he has done thousands of times before. This time, he does not rise. The mamba approaches after 10 minutes. In no hurry, exploring with its tongue, not its eyes. The remains are far too large to be consumed. No snake on this savanna could manage such a meal. The black mamba does not know it has just marked the end of an era. It was simply protecting its home, as it does every single day. About 200 million years ago, dinosaurs began their reign. The common ancestor of snakes, lizards, and iguanas developed early toxin glands. Since then, almost every species has learned one single lesson: steer clear. But not everyone. Some species chose to reinvent themselves in every single molecule of their being. The African mongoose, no thick hide, no venomous fangs, no obvious size advantage, yet it actively seeks out venomous snakes. This is not a case of being reckless. It is a masterclass in technique. The first technique. The mongoose does not go head-to-head. It provokes. Then it switches directions. Then it provokes again. One must never take their eyes off the opponent. The cobra's fangs make contact. But this is not a strike. The cobra has successfully guarded itself against becoming dinner for this yellow mongoose. And the mongoose, the nip startled it and let the snake slip away. It must find someone else for its evening meal. It is not just the yellow-furred ones. All mongoose subspecies are fond of venomous snakes. The Indian grey mongoose, the dwarf mongoose, the slender mongoose. With incredible speed and teeth as sharp as razors, they handle most of the venomous snakes that others avoid. Mambas, cobras, vipers. But why do they choose such high-stakes dinners involving the snake's potent toxins? Within the chain of thousands of amino acids that make up the mongoose's neural receptors, there is a unique link. At position 187 in the protein chain, one amino acid has shifted. This minor change adds a group of molecules that shields the contact point where neurotoxins need to latch on. The toxin arrives, finds the lock in the right spot, but the lock already has a molecular fragment filling the space. The key can no longer enter. To achieve the same effect on a mongoose, it would require a dose of toxin 200 times greater than what it takes for a laboratory mouse. It is the equivalent of an average person needing to take 200 sleeping pills instead of one to feel drowsy. A cobra bite, enough to bring down a large dog, is merely a temporary setback for a mongoose. And this is just the beginning for those who truly consider venomous snakes a staple of their daily diet. The mongoose found a molecular solution, but one creature goes even further, and its way is what makes evolution truly unpredictable. The honey badger. According to the Guinness World Records, the world's most courageous animal. This title was earned because observers have noted the honey badger actively engages cobras, drives lions and leopards away from their meals, and approaches a puff adder with the same steady gaze as when seeking ordinary prey. That composure is built on a biological foundation. The first layer of protection is physical. A honey badger's skin on its neck and back measures 6 millimeters, thicker than the sole of a professional hiking boot. Beneath that is a layer of loose connective tissue, allowing the skin to move independently of the body within. It takes hold of its neck. The honey badger can roll with the punches within its own skin to bite back. The second layer of protection is molecular. And this is what makes the honey badger special in its own right. The mongoose adds a molecular fragment to block the contact point. The honey badger alters the electrical charge of that point. The neurotoxin no longer recognizes where to latch on. But evolution did not stop there. Hedgehogs found it too, at a different spot in the protein chain, through a completely separate evolutionary journey. When a cobra faces a hedgehog, it is not just dealing with thousands of sharp quills. Even if those sharp fangs find a gap, the hedgehog still possesses a molecular shield within its body. The hedgehog's cells have altered their structure, much like changing a lock so the toxin key can never fit. In their bloodstream, bodyguard proteins called erinacin are always on standby, ready to hold its own against any toxic molecules that have entered. But it is not only land-dwelling creatures that found a solution. The brown snake eagle represents the next piece of this venom-defying puzzle. Its diet includes cobras, vipers, and most of Africa's larger serpents. Though lacking natural immunity, it possesses the upper hand through a specialized advantage. Its leg scales are significantly thicker and tougher than those of other birds of prey. Over millions of years, these scales evolved into specialized armor for one specific type of quarry. The cobra's hood is certainly no accident either. It was shaped by the very birds that pursue it. A wider frame appears more imposing and difficult to handle from above. Cobras with broader hoods weathered more of these close encounters. The eagle's keen vision simplifies everything. Across millions of years, the hood became increasingly prominent. The eagle adapted in step, a never-ending dance of parallel evolution. Long before any physical meeting takes place on these grasslands, it has already unfolded within an invisible realm. Every serpent on the Mozambique savanna carries an organ most mammals lack. The vomeronasal organ, also known as the Jacobson organ, located in the roof of the mouth. The forked tongue serves as a dual-directional chemical sampling tool. Its two tips measure molecular concentrations independently from two directions, allowing the snake to pinpoint scent sources in 3 dimensions with high precision. A snake, surveying its territory, may flick its tongue up to 22 times per second. When that frequency spikes, it indicates the creature has caught wind of something significant. Mambas and cobras read this grassland like a chemical map. Pheromones leave a trail on the ground as a snake moves, a path that persists for many hours after the traveler has departed. From a single trace, the serpent can determine the species, the direction of travel, and whether it passed recently or at daybreak. This is the silent language of the domain, interpreted by the tongue, not the ears. Yet there is one species that remains silent in this dialogue. The puff adder leaves no readable chemical footprint. It evolved to suppress its own chemical signature. Even cobras and mambas receive no chemical warning regarding the presence of a puff adder. The savanna's most patient serpent is not just hidden from sight. It is also absent from the chemical map others use to steer clear of one another. When two venomous species detect one another, and both realize they have found a rival, the next dialogue is written in body language. The black mamba lifts 1/3 of its body off the ground, leaning forward, not standing tall like a cobra, but stretching out as if signaling an impending strike. This signal is only sent when the snake truly intends to engage or needs to discourage a potential threat. The puff adder reacts quite differently. It is not a short puff. Instead, it is a sustained, deliberate sound compressed from the lungs. It is not meant as an empty threat, but to announce, "I am aware of you, and I am prepared." Why do two venomous species typically avoid one another instead of engaging? A snake lacks cross-resistance to a rival's venom. A physical injury means being unable to hunt. An inability to hunt leads to a slow fading away. Chemical systems evolved partly to allow species to recognize one another from afar and choose to bypass each other before the gap closes. Today, the territory lacks enough space for avoidance. The first encounter, the black-necked spitting cobra, a hybrid strategy, deploying its mist before closing in. The goal is to disable the puff adder's visual and sensory organs before it gets close enough for a counterstrike. The puff adder detects the approach late, not due to slow reflexes, but because the cobra's chemical signature is not its primary focus on the sensory map. A second encounter occurs in Ruaha. The snouted cobra is a formidable hunter with an instinct for pursuing other serpents. This cobra's venom targets the nervous system, causing muscle paralysis and a cessation of breath in a short window. This is vital in a high-stakes struggle. Whoever can beat the other to the punch and shut down their opponent faster wins. Not a single wasted movement. The snouted cobra grips the puff adder's head firmly. The snouted cobra's neurotoxins begin to paralyze every nerve impulse. The puff adder, once a powerhouse of muscle, is now an unresponsive form. The snouted cobra's feast begins at the opponent's head. This is the harsh reality, as well as a magnificent victory of the natural world. Each species reads the domain in its own way, through chemistry, heat, and vibration. Each speaks its own warning language, with hoods, mouth colors, and hisses. And each decides whether to engage or retreat based on its own internal calculation. As the empire crosses the Indian Ocean into tropical Asia, its influence remains undiminished. It reaches an evolutionary peak that is truly in a league of its own. Here, a specific serpent transforms another's venom into its own morning meal. And on a small island within the Java Sea, the empire's greatest secret awaits. A mystery that took science nearly 1 century to unravel. What happens when the apex predator itself chooses venom as its primary path? Same empire, different landscape, different climate, yet the same evolutionary drive and creatures that have survived long enough under that weight to find solutions Africa never envisioned. The king cobra. Its Latin name literally means snake eater. This is the longest venomous serpent on the planet, reaching 5.5 meters, and its primary sustenance is other snakes. Even cobras, even vipers, even the venomous species within the same habitat, the very ones most hunters give a wide berth. It tracks using its tongue rather than its eyes. It gathers chemical markers from the air, interpreting prey movement through invisible paths that other creatures fail to notice. As the gap narrows, it rises, lifting its head to a person's chest height, looking its adversary straight in the face. It is the only serpent to stare directly into an opponent's eyes at eye level. And its warning is not a sharp hiss, but a low growl, reminiscent of a large, agitated dog. However, its meals consist of venomous snakes, which can still release their toxins into the predator's mouth and stomach during the process. How does the king cobra avoid self-poisoning during its meal? The same molecular resolution, but a completely different mechanism. The king cobra developed resistance within its neural receptors through its own independent path. This marks the 5th time the same solution has been reached, born from the same pressure, following the same molecular path, yet through an entirely separate branch of life. And then there is this, a detail few realize. The king cobra is the only serpent on Earth that constructs a nest. The female gathers leaves, creating a multi-layered structure that maintains a steady temperature for the eggs within. Then she stands guard for 60 to 75 days. She does not wander, she does not eat, she simply protects. Any creature that wanders within 2 meters is engaged immediately, and when the eggs begin to crack, the female departs. This is not a case of giving up. Giving up is when options run out. This is the opposite. The female understands that after 75 days without nourishment, she might consume anything that moves, including her own offspring. She leaves at the precise moment before they emerge, ensuring she doesn't cross the line. Asia has taken the solution to a new height. But the final answer, the one that turns the logic of the empire upside down, resides on an island few associate with Venom. Indonesia. Komodo Island. The Java Sea. For decades, nearly a century of scientific observation, it was believed the Komodo dragon overcame its quarry using bacteria. Its mouth was thought to be teeming with microbes from organic remains. A single strike wouldn't finish things instantly, but health complications would take their toll over several days. The target escapes, the Komodo waits. Nature's microscopic cleaners handle the rest. That was the textbook narrative. In 2009, Brian Fry and a research team at the University of Queensland published entirely different evidence in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. A genuine venom gland, situated in the lower jaw, produces at least 4 specialized proteins: phospholipase, A2, CRISP, kallikrein, and natriuretic peptide. The architecture of this gland was more intricate than any reptile studied up to that point. It wasn't the microbes, it wasn't just luck. This is evolutionary engineering, refined over millions of years, overlooked because no one was looking in the right place. The Komodo dragon, 70 kilograms, weighing as much as an average National Football League lineman, 3 meters in length. It moves with the composure of someone who already knows the victory is in the bag. Callicrine and crispy within the venom disrupt the blood-clotting cascade. The wound refuses to close. The deer retreats, believing it has made a getaway. It covers 4 kilometers within 30 minutes. It feels secure. The Komodo pinpoints its target in 3 dimensions across several kilometers. There is no rush. The deer is experiencing internal complications with no way to stop them. The Komodo can sense every final step. And here is the bottom line. The Komodo is the top dog of its island home. It has no natural adversaries, no significant rivals. 2 continents, 6 distinct solutions. In engineering, we refer to this as convergent design, where 2 separate teams, working with different materials, arrive at the same optimal blueprint. Because there is a definitive solution for every specific problem, and with enough time and pressure, you will eventually hit the nail on the head. Evolution has all the time in the world, and its demands never cease. We look at Venom and perceive a formidable risk. But evolution views Venom as a technical challenge, one that has been solved 6 times, in 6 different ways, by 6 species that have no idea the others even exist. Each year, more than 2 million people experience snake encounters. Over 100,000 of them do not make it through. It is not because serpents are seeking us out. It is because the gap between our 2 worlds is closing faster than either side can adjust. On the Mozambique savanna where this story began, the grass still sways in the afternoon breeze. The empire remains, ever patient, ever enduring. The takeover has passed. Yet the dry season has not released its grip. And at the final meeting point for every species, the ultimate pressure awaits. It is the end of the dry season. 40 consecutive days have passed without rain. The lionesses have reunited after successfully avoiding the nomadic males. They are left with only 3 cubs. The entire pride gathers at the only remaining waterhole, within a radius of 9.6 kilometers. Every other water source has vanished. Within the reeds, an African rock python measuring 5 meters has been concealed for 3 days. A python does not pursue its prize in the manner of a lion. It does not engage in a chase. It does not emit a roar. It simply waits. One of the 3 observant lion cubs manages to keep an eye out and notices the hidden presence. The young female intends to discourage it, but this python has likely endured a lack of nourishment for too long. The 5-month-old cub possesses more curiosity and courage. than seasoned tactical experience. The python does not remain passive. It lunges and makes contact with the young one's face. As a cry of discomfort rings out, her siblings arrive just in time. The python is forced to withdraw and slides away into the distance. The young ones offer comfort and groom one another. They understand that their numbers are few, and they must stand united. If you have journeyed with us this far, please share your thoughts on the bond between these lion siblings. Be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss any captivating stories about the lions of Africa. Stay tuned. As the struggle for survival for these young ones is far from over. The lions are secure. Another hunter, however, is not as fortunate. At a distance of 4.8 kilometers from the waterhole, atop a large marula tree, a black leopard mother has raised her only offspring. A black leopard is a melanistic variation of this mysterious large cat. The dark pigment is a result of a variation in the MC1R gene. They are quite rare in the lowlands of East Africa. Though the young male is over 1 year old and matches his mother in size, he remains in the sanctuary of the tree while she is away. Another African rock python, measuring approximately 3.7 meters, is drawing near the young leopard. While the mother is out providing, the young leopard finds itself in an unexpected encounter. A python's jaw is capable of stretching to 150% of its natural size. If the serpent succeeds in its hold, this young male would represent a significant prize for the 4-meter reptile. The constriction could cause his journey to end before he has a chance to break free. But this young male is a spirited little warrior. He has evaded a precarious situation. Next time, he would be wise to follow his mother to refine his skills. Their current residence is no longer a safe haven. Stretching for approximately 6,437 kilometers, the Amazon holds the title for the river with the greatest water volume on the planet. This ecosystem is divided into two contrasting personalities: white water and black water. Flowing from the Andes, the nutrient-rich white water carries an abundance of silt In contrast, the black water branches possess high acidity that tests the limits of survival, driving the remarkable evolution of native fish. The Anhinga possesses a calculated set of skills, gliding beneath the surface like a serpent-like shadow. Its unique plumage allows this specialist to submerge to depths of 6 meters. When a target is sighted, its flexible neck delivers a lightning-fast strike. Its sharp beak pierces the prize with absolute precision. The black caiman presides over the wetlands as a premier hunter at the top of the food chain. This South American giant reaches a length of 6 meters and a weight exceeding 500 kilograms. With a lifespan reaching 70 years, they possess incredible endurance. The ability to forego nourishment for weeks or even months allows this reptile to adapt perfectly to a demanding environment. Its dark skin serves a dual purpose by providing camouflage in the murky depths and absorbing maximum warmth from the sun. Its vision pierces through the darkness thanks to a specialized reflective membrane within its eyes. Its most formidable asset is a bite with a pressure of 25,510,612 Newton per square meter, leading the world of crocodilians. This immense jaw strength easily processes even the most stubborn of prizes. The serrated teeth of the red-bellied piranha make them a notable presence, capable of navigating through their meal in the blink of an eye. They typically coordinate in groups of 20 to 30 individuals. A collective effort can reduce a target's weight by 35% in just a few short minutes. This hunter also demonstrates remarkable flexibility, willing to transition to organic remains or vegetation to sustain itself. The arapaima is a titan of the freshwater world, reaching 3 meters in length and weighing over 200 kilograms. This massive creature possesses the ability to breathe air directly due to a remarkable adaptation of its swim bladder. This unique biological trait allows it to thrive even in waters that are oxygen poor. The anaconda holds the throne among serpents with a length exceeding 9 meters and a weight over 200 kilograms. Its powerful body, covered in olive green scales with black patterns, allows it to move with absolute silence underwater. The placement of its eyes and nostrils near the top of its head enables this giant to observe its surroundings while remaining fully submerged. Rather than using teeth to conclude the encounter, the anaconda secures its target with a firm hold before consuming it whole. After consuming a large rival, like a black caiman, its metabolic rate spikes to 40 times its normal level. To process such a massive meal, the serpent enters a state of deep rest for weeks or months. Its heart naturally expands by an additional 40%, to optimize blood flow during this intense digestive phase. Across the globe, these influential reptiles continue to preside. They do not merely serve as a backdrop, but are vital links in the circle of life. Let us return to Mozambique, Africa, where these reptiles are present in nearly every distinct environment. Mozambique, a nation carrying the remnants of its history. Yet in the natural world, it is a masterpiece of endurance. These wilderness areas are far more than mere forests. They are biological engines operating at a breathtaking pace. Welcome to the southern tip of one of the planet's most magnificent fractures, the East African Rift System. At the heart of wild Mozambique, Gorongosa National Park is more than just a sanctuary. It is a living geological entity. Millions of years ago, the shifting of the Earth's crust formed a massive basin, a vast reservoir of nutrients known as the sump. This mechanism is remarkably straightforward yet powerful. Silt from the rivers has flowed here for millions of years, accumulating into a wealthy source of life energy. The result? An extraordinary concentration of large mammals and reptiles, transforming this area into a rare ecological tapestry, where tropical rainforest, dry savanna, and wetlands intertwine within a compact space. An arena where every square meter offers a chance for survival or the conclusion of a life cycle. Mozambique is situated entirely within the Zambesian bioregion, referred to by scientists as the genetic migration corridor. Molecular genetics studies as of the year 2025 have revealed a surprising fact. The lion and elephant populations here possess the highest haplotype diversity on the continent. Yet, if large mammals are the visible rulers, reptiles are the true living timelines. With their steady pace and unwavering loyalty to their territory, their presence allows scientists to interpret the big picture of this region's climate history over the past 10,000 years. They are silent witnesses, recording every breath of the earth. In Mozambique, solitary rocky peaks, Inselbergs standing tall like ancient watchtowers, and the arid western savanna create a rigorous arena for existence. In this land, the shadows are not the only challenge. The true trial often comes from the brilliant radiance of the sun. Look toward the sky. Higher than the heat waves rising from the earth, a spectral figure glides. Martial eagle, a masterpiece of biological aerial engineering. Its eyes are far more than mere observation tools. They are living radar with peak vision nearly 4 times that of a human. 6 kilometers. Visualize this. From that distance, while a human eye sees only a blur of dust, this eagle has already locked onto the slightest movement of its target within the scorched grass. But the true scale of this eagle lies in the figures that modern science has recently decoded. Those recent global positioning system tracking studies have shattered all previous understanding of their range. A pair of martial eagles does not simply oversee a forest. They govern a realm spanning over 1,000 square kilometers. But as the shadow of the sky hunter passes by, another spectral presence rises directly from the soil. Look into the heart of Gorongosa National Park. Here, we do not merely see hunters. We are witnessing a trophic cascade in motion that is redefining the entire survival map of this region. Lion, sovereign of the grasslands. But in Mozambique, these royal bloodlines no longer follow antiquated patterns of pursuit. Modern science has identified a dramatic shift in their conduct, an extreme ecological versatility rarely seen anywhere else on the planet. Following the tireless efforts of the resurrection ecology model, the wetlands here began to expand, and the lion prides at Gorongosa underwent a culinary revolution to adapt. Rather than expending energy on exhausting pursuits of antelope across the dry plains, they have chosen to go toe-to-toe with the giants of the swamp, Nile crocodile and African rock python. Picture a life-altering struggle between the raw, muscular power of ancient reptiles and the sophisticated group hunting techniques of Africa's largest cat. Engaging armored crocodiles or massive rock pythons is not simply about nourishment. It is a bold survival strategy within a self-restoring ecosystem. When the one at the top of the food chain shifts focus, the entire system responds. This is the face of a new Mozambique. Fierce, evolving, and unpredictable. Beneath the shadows of the massive hunters, another graceful yet resolute presence glides on legs long as stilts. Meet the secretary bird. Do not let its slender frame and the elegant crest feathers on its head mislead you. This is one of the most specialized and efficient specialists of the savanna. In the world of venomous serpents, speed is the primary asset, but the secretary bird has taken pursuit techniques to a new peak of resolution. When encountering venomous serpents, it has no need for toxins. It utilizes pure kinetic force. "15 milliseconds. That is all the time it requires to deliver a decisive strike, faster than the blink of a human eye. Science has measured a remarkable strength behind this foot-driven move. An impact force 5 times the bird's own body weight. With the precision of a surgeon and the power of a sledgehammer, it resolves the encounter before the target can manage a response. In the arid western grasslands of wild Mozambique, this bird also demonstrates a sharp, opportunistic intellect. When wildfires sweep across the savanna while other species retreat in haste, the secretary bird steps into the heart of the embers. It patrols the edges of the flames where smaller reptiles and rodents are attempting to find a way out. Amidst the drifting smoke, this specialist appears like a final challenge, utilizing nature's upheaval to bring home the bacon with a bountiful feast. A perfect blend of mechanical power and resolute instinct. But take care. In the world of specialists, sometimes the most effective tool is not sharp claws or muscular power, but a preemptive move from a secure distance. Face the Mozambique spitting cobra. This is no ordinary serpent. It is an expert in chemical strategies. Its primary asset is a potent blend a unique mix of cytotoxins which break down and erode cellular tissue, and neurotoxins, toxins that directly engage the nervous system. But what truly makes it a formidable presence is how it deploys this substance. Modern science has just revealed a chilling capability. This serpent does not spray its mist at random. It possesses the insight to recognize an adversary's face. Its sole and ultimate focus is the eyes. With the precision of a biological sharpshooter, the Mozambique spitting cobra can hit the bullseye with a 90% success rate at a distance of 2 meters. It calculates movement, aims directly at the pupils, and lets fly. In a savanna environment filled with large and spirited rivals, this is the most refined active defense mechanism. A firm message is delivered through its mist. Do not take another step unless you wish to trade sight for darkness and enduring discomfort. One small oversight, a second of distraction, and your world could fade into a toxic haze. If the cobra is a sharpshooter displaying its strength, the next one on this list is a directional mine concealed beneath dry leaves. Be mindful of the puff adder. In the demanding world of the savanna, visual camouflage is not always enough. Therefore, the puff adder has evolved a remarkably rare biological privilege, chemical crypsis, or chemical concealment. While every living creature releases scent molecules like a name tag in the wild, this serpent has reached a state of absolute olfactory invisibility. Latest field studies have uncovered a startling truth. Even the most skilled trackers like African painted dogs or the most clever hunters are completely at a loss when facing a stationary puff adder. It simply does not exist in the adversary's world of scent. This transforms puff adders into zones of absolute stillness on the savanna floor. You cannot see it, and now you cannot scent it. It erases its presence from every sensory map of its prey and rivals, patiently waiting for an unintended footstep to enter its range. A scentless, silent, and entirely resolute trap. Yet, amidst the vertical stone mazes of the north, survival requires an entirely different level of sophistication. Step into the realm of the Inselbergs, where the boundary between the earth and sky is blurred by a spotted phantom. The leopard. In Mozambique, they are not just ghosts of the thicket, they have evolved into true vertical climbing experts. Evolution has forged the muscle and claws that allow them to master upright stone walls as if they were ordinary branches. In these rocky highlands, gravity no longer seems to be a barrier for this ambitious hunter. And this is where instinct meets adaptive intelligence. New science has revealed a unique behavior found only among Mozambique's stone dwellers. The cold storage technique. Instead of expending energy to haul a prize up into sparse trees, leopards at the Inselbergs utilize narrow, deep and cool rock crevices as natural refrigerators. This behavior is an optimal defensive strategy to deal with the persistent attention of hyenas. Between narrow cracks that even the most determined scavengers cannot squeeze through, the leopard's meal is perfectly preserved within the steady temperature of ancient stone. A specific adaptation to the Mozambican terrain, making this hunter the undisputed ruler of the solitary peaks, where explosive power meets the most refined strategic calculation. Far beyond the ways of solitary hunters, the true strength of the savanna lies in an incredibly disciplined and sophisticated organization. Enter the world of the African wild dog. Do not be misled by their wild appearance and mottled coats. You are facing the most democratic social structure on this planet. While most hunters operate under the absolute authority of a leader, the African wild dog has chosen a different evolutionary path. Collective consensus. Biologists in Mozambique have just decoded a remarkable secret in their communication. A decision-making mechanism science calls sneeze voting. Observe a pack of African wild dogs before they set out. It is not a random outburst. As the intent to hunt begins to take shape, a referendum is established. Each sharp sneeze emitted by the members is not a sign of illness, but rather a biological electronic vote. And this is where mathematics meets instinct. The entire pack will not take action until the number of sneezes reaches a specific threshold, a quorum. Once this number is satisfied and everyone is on the same page, an invisible command sweeps through the pack's nervous system, triggering the entire hunting engine into action. This is the most vivid evidence of complex communication among carnivores ever recorded. In Mozambique, democracy is not just a social concept, it is the ultimate advantage that helps the African wild dog achieve the highest success rate in the natural world. One sneeze, one vote, and a systematic resolution. But even the most intricate social structures must eventually yield to an evolutionary pressure far more profound than any other human activity. Look toward the giants of Gorongosa National Park, the African elephant. They are not merely icons of the savanna. They are living proof of a poignant and remarkable biological phenomenon, reverse evolution. During the darker decades of Mozambique's history, a rigorous selective pressure was placed upon this population. The pursuit of ivory did more than simply conclude the journeys of individual members. It rewrote the genetic code of an entire species. The percentage of female African elephants born without tusks at Gorongosa surged from a natural 18% to a staggering 50%. No tusks, no white gold, no remaining reason to be pursued. This is a desperate genetic maneuver to ensure they keep their heads above water. Yet, as their physical form shifts, their role within the ecosystem transforms accordingly. Tusks were originally precision tools for debarking trees and tilling the soil. These tuskless elephants are completely altering their dietary habits, consuming significantly less tree bark. An unexpected ecological outcome emerges. They have unintentionally become the guardians of the open woodlands. By setting aside their most distinguished asset, these giants are allowing the sparse forests a chance to flourish once again. In wild Mozambique, these titans are evolving right before our eyes, shaped not by the slow hand of Mother Nature, but by the intense footprint of humanity. A quiet transformation, an icon being redefined. While the giants are quietly rewriting their genetic code for survival, a prehistoric guardian on Mozambique's sun-drenched western borders is fulfilling a vital mission: face the white rhinoceros. Do not let the thick armor and imposing presence mislead you. This is not merely a heavy grazer. In the eyes of ecologists, they are biological lawn mowers operating with incredible efficiency. Unlike other grazers, the white rhinoceros possesses a distinctive wide mouth structure, allowing them to sweep close to the ground with absolute precision. They do not graze at random, they engineer the landscape. By keeping the grass extremely short, they unintentionally create a strategic defense system for the entire region. Natural fire breaks. During the rigorous dry season, when the savanna winds begin to fan spirited flames across the plains, these spaces maintained by the white rhinoceros become essential boundaries. The fire lacks the fuel to spread, coming to a halt right before the threshold of sparse forests and critical biodiversity zones. A silent guardian, a living shield against the sweep of wildfires. In wild Mozambique, the white rhinoceros serves as a prehistoric firefighter. Protecting the soul of this land from the sun's intensity through its persistent presence. A perfect illustration of how their behavior ensures the ecosystem is on the safe side. If the white rhinoceros is the steel shield of the grassland, the next spectral figure we encounter is a venomous arrow gliding across the soil. A name sufficient to make anyone's pulse falter: the Black Mamba. This is the elite track athlete of the reptile world, reaching speeds of 20 kilometers per hour within the confined spaces of the savanna. This is no longer a crawl. It is a swift, unavoidable encounter. But speed is merely the introduction. Within the ink-black maw, the feature that gives this serpent its name, lies a potent chemical collection. Its venom contains dendrotoxin. Consider this a master key protein. It directly engages and secures the potassium channels in the victim's nervous system, causing all biological electrical signals to pause immediately. It does more than cause discomfort. It concludes one's journey by completely dissolving the communication network between the brain and the body. However, modern science in the northern rocky regions of Mozambique has revealed a paradoxical truth about this legendary figure. Contrary to its reputation for intense spirit, the black mamba is actually an extremely shy recluse. They consistently prefer to retreat rather than engage, effectively avoiding a scene. Yet do not underestimate their endurance. When the sun is at its peak and the intense warmth of central Mozambique becomes overwhelming, forcing most other reptiles to seek the shadows to avoid thermal strain, the black mamba remains active. Utilizing a superior thermoregulation system, they challenge the boundaries of biology. A perfect blend of lightning speed, the precision of a neural specialist, and the endurance of a true warrior under the searing heat of Africa. A phantom that never rests, even under the most intense sunlight. In the realms where reptiles govern through apprehension and solitude, an elder of a different kind occupies the savanna with loyalty and the endurance of time. Meet the southern ground hornbill. In a world where journeys often conclude in a heartbeat, this bird stands as a symbol of longevity. with a life cycle that can span 60 years, matching a human lifetime. They do not merely exist, they are calling the shots across the plains. Listen to the deep, resonant sound booming like thunder from the horizon. That is more than just a call. It is a low-frequency broadcast, a biological infrasound capable of piercing the dense African air to travel up to 3 kilometers. It is a declaration of territory etched into the atmosphere through sound. Yet, the true strength of the southern ground hornbill lies in a social structure that ornithologists describe as noble clans. They operate through cooperative breeding, a sophisticated communal approach to raising their young. Here, the concept of a solitary parent does not exist. The entire group, from the young males to family members, joins forces to protect and nourish a single offspring. Within the demanding wilderness of wild Mozambique, a young warrior only reaches maturity with the backing of an entire kingdom. In this nation, science and tradition have joined hands to create a protective shield for this lineage. The local people revere them as messengers of the rain. In their worldview, causing harm to a southern ground hornbill is akin to turning one's back on the vitality of the land. This reverence grants them a privilege that no conservation law could ever match. A culturally protected sanctuary that allows them to wander peacefully away from the reach of hunters. They are the sentinels of the rains, the guardians of the lineage. A testament to the power of connection in a world filled with specialists. Amidst a world of neutral camouflage and quiet concealment, a gem appears that is almost too vibrant to believe. Behold the lilac-breasted roller. Recognized as the national bird of the savanna, it wears a coat of 7 rainbow colors. a display of brilliance that seems to challenge every rule regarding the stealth of specialists. Yet in the world of wild Mozambique, this magnificent beauty is not just for show, it is a declaration of bold adaptation. Biologists have recently uncovered a different side of this bird. One filled with character and grit. They are genuine fire chasers. While most other creatures retreat in haste from savanna wildfires, the lilac-breasted roller does the opposite. They head straight toward the smoke and flames with a resolute calculation. They fly right along the edge of the rising flames, utilizing the landscape's transition to conduct an aerial harvest. As insects emerge in haste from the scorched vegetation, they immediately enter the sights of this rainbow specialist. This is not mere recklessness. It is a magnificent demonstration of perfect adaptation to the natural fire cycles of the savanna. An unusual blend of ethereal beauty and sharp opportunism, turning the challenges of others into a bountiful feast for themselves, right in the heart of the flames. A symbol of brilliance rising from the embers. Beneath the shadows of those vibrant figures in the sky, a master of perception remains hidden within the leaves. Observe the flap-necked chameleon. It possesses a biological monitoring system that would be the envy of any engineer. Two turret-like eyes that operate entirely independently of one another. It does not simply look, it scans. A 360-degree panoramic view of its surroundings is processed simultaneously. While one eye remains fixed on a potential meal, the other stays highly alert for any interested parties. In its world, the concept of a blind spot does not exist. However, the true genius of this reptile lies in its skin, a language written in color. For decades, we believed its ability to shift shades was merely a cloak of invisibility. We were mistaken. Modern science has identified the true purpose of this chromatic performance. It is a sophisticated tool for thermoregulation, managing body temperature, as well as an expressive social communication system. In a land with extremely high ultraviolet intensity like Mozambique, the skin of the flap-necked chameleon acts as a sensitive biological sensor. Their colors shift in tone according to the intensity of the tropical ultraviolet rays, darkening to absorb warmth or lightening to reflect the searing radiation. This is not just a change in appearance, it is a survival dashboard. A declaration of territorial presence or a spirited emotional signal, broadcast in the highest resolution across every scale, a perfect blend of precision mechanics and biological expression. Yet, as our gaze shifts from the foliage back to the vastness of the sky, a unique silhouette appears, challenging every standard aerodynamic rule: the battler eagle. Its name is a poetic French tribute to tightrope walkers. Observe that characteristic rocking flight style, a persistent tilting to maintain balance on the rising heat currents. Lacking a long tail to serve as a steady rudder, it must constantly adjust its wide wings, gliding on an invisible wire in the air with remarkable composure. This is not a casual stroll. It is a survival marathon. The battler eagle can spend 8 to 9 hours a day, nearly the entire duration of daylight, patrolling the arid skies of Mozambique. Its level of persistence is off the charts, as it searches for any trace of organic remains or small reptiles caught in the open below. It is a steadfast sentry, a tireless observer of the savanna. Yet the most startling secret of this eagle lies not in its wings, but in the skin of its face and legs. Consider this a biological, psychological mirror. New science has discovered that the vibrant red tones on their body are not fixed. They have the ability to shift hues based on their internal psychological state. When facing unease or pressure, the vivid red fades, revealing their inner emotional world through an immediate physiological response. It is not just a specialist, it is a sensitive living entity whose every state of mind is projected directly onto its outer layer. A perfect blend of superior flight skills and a refined biological expression system. As we leave the scorched rocky highlands and head toward the lifeblood of Mozambique, the Zambezi River Basin. This is a world of wetlands where water provides more than just life. It is an arena filled with heavyweight opportunists. Listen closely. A resonant, clear, and commanding sound pierces the air. The African fish eagle. Known as the Voice of Africa, its call serves as the acoustic signature of the entire continent. Beneath the grand appearance of an icon lies a hunting specialist refined down to the smallest detail. The secret is in the feet. Science has identified a sophisticated biomechanical design beneath its soles, tiny spikes known as spiracules. These are specialized scales that function like a hydraulic sawtooth system, helping it secure the slipperiest fish the moment they leave the water. A single touch, a firm grip, and the prize is committed to its final chapter. However, recent behavioral studies in the Zambezi Basin have revealed a calculated side to this bird. They are not just skilled fishers, they are true pirates of the sky. Welcome to the world of kleptoparasitism, a strategic system of claiming another's meal. Why expend energy on a risky plunge when someone else has already done the heavy lifting? The African fish eagle frequently carries out swift raids on the massive Goliath heron, forcing the opponent to yield its prize right from its beak. A resolute survival strategy, maximizing energy conservation with a great deal of cleverness. In wild Mozambique, a true ruler knows how to prevail with strength and how to secure what they need through sharp opportunism. An icon of majesty, carrying the spirit of a grand acquisitor. But while the specialists rule the sky and the water, a miracle of physics is unfolding within the floating carpets of vegetation. Observe the African jacana. In the world of ornithology, it is known as the lily trotter. The secret lies in a unique biomechanical design, feet with unusually long toes. This is a masterclass in the absolute distribution of weight. By spreading its body mass across a vast surface area through those elongated toes, the African jacana can glide over fragile lily pads without disturbing the water. It is not merely walking, it is challenging the rules of pressure to remain atop a surface where others would find themselves in deep water. However, the truly revolutionary aspect of this bird is not its gait, but a social structure that turns traditional patterns upside down, polyandry. In the Zambezi Basin, the African jacana breaks every gender-based expectation in the natural world. The females are the dominant entities, larger, more spirited, and resolute in protecting their territory. They maintain a group of several males, and these males are among the most dedicated fathers on the planet. The entire responsibility, from tending the eggs to raising the young, rests on the father's shoulders. And here is the most iconic image of survival in these wetlands. When a threat emerges from beneath the surface, the male performs a one-of-a-kind rescue. He tucks his young ones securely beneath his wings, transforming his body into a living life raft, and rushes across the lily pads to find sanctuary. A startling paradox of the natural world. When the currents of the Zambezi finally blend with the vast ocean, we reach the final frontier of wild Mozambique, Ponta do Ouro. At these sun-drenched estuaries and beaches, survival is no longer a pursuit through the silt, but rather a series of precise maneuvers from the clouds. Look toward the sky. A specialized hunter governs the coastal heavens, the osprey. This is more than a bird of prey. It is a winged diving instrument. Imagine a descent from 40 meters, equivalent to the height of a 12-story building. To remain intact through the intense impact with the surface, the osprey possesses a one-of-a-kind anatomical feature. It is the only specialist on the planet capable of completely sealing its nostrils the moment it touches the water. In that instant, it transforms into a sealed biological arrow, preventing the immense pressure from entering its respiratory system. Yet the true challenge is not the fall, but the visual deception. How does it pinpoint a fish concealed beneath Mozambique's mirror-like surface? Modern science has identified an optical masterpiece within their retinas. The osprey's eyes are equipped with a natural polarized light filter. Think of it as a pair of high-end sunglasses integrated directly into the nervous system, allowing the bird to completely eliminate the sun's brilliant reflection. It sees through the ocean's veil to secure its target with precision a full 1 meter beneath the waves. A lightning-fast move guided by a penetrating navigation system. In the estuaries of Ponta do Ouro, the osprey is a cut above when it comes to vertical engagements. We have just explored the most unfiltered glimpses into the empire of toxins and the wild landscapes of Mozambique. Which creature in today's feature caused you to reconsider your perspective on the natural world? Was it the silent endurance of the puff adder or the honey badger's remarkable ability to turn the tables? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Your appreciation serves as a genuine tribute to these magnificent wild beings. Remember to like and subscribe to join me on our next field expeditions, where we will continue to decode the most intriguing secrets of survival. And if you wish to explore more about other wildlife, feel free to continue your journey with Win or Die, full episode. Deadliest battles for survival or lion attack, the Mapogo battle for survival.